To Aurelia, Prince Lysander was like a festering wound, rotting flesh seeping venom, clinging to her soul like a toxin. He wasn't lethal, but every mention of his name made her stomach churn with disgust. Suppressing the surge of loathing, Aurelia lifted her eyes to look at Faith, who was still chattering cheerfully. I heard from Tongji, the servant beside His Highness Prince Lysander, that he arrived before dawn and has been waiting ever since, Faith said with concern. When I saw him earlier, his face was purple with cold. Aurelia quietly turned a page in her book, saying nothing. Faith was puzzled. A noble prince like Lysander had braved the snow to wait all day at the side gate of the Duke of Gen's estate. How could that not move someone? Yet her young lady remained cold and indifferent. Could it be she still hadn't let go of the heir to the House of Loyalty and Courage? In a smaller voice, Faith added, His Highness was worried that you might be upset tomorrow when the heir of the loyal Duke marries Lady Beatrice. He hoped to speak with you under the pretense of borrowing a book. You agreed for her? Faith's sister, Seraphina, gasped, her face darkening with anger. Are you mad? If anyone catches the wind of Lady Aurelia meeting secretly with Prince Lysander, her reputation will be ruined. Faith, caught up in her own emotions, hadn't thought of the consequences. Seraphina's words shook her, and she turned pale. My lady, I didn't mean any harm. Aurelia, having lived a second life, now saw things clearly. It was around this time that Faith began to fall for Prince Lysander's sweet words and became his pawn. What exactly did he say? Aurelia asked calmly. Faith hesitated, then repeated, His Highness said the loyal Duke's family is narrow-minded. Just because you may have trouble bearing children, they've chosen to replace you with Lady Beatrice. To them, any daughter of the Duke of Gen will do, but to him, he's grateful. They've given him the chance to win your heart. That's how he deceived her. Deceived her loyal maid. Deceived her mother. Everyone in the White family thought Lysander loved her so deeply that he didn't care about her fertility. Aurelia closed her eyes, cold radiating from her. Faith shifted uneasily. Did I do something wrong again? She knew if she refused to hand over the military book Lysander was asking for, the one with her grandfather's annotations, he wouldn't stop. Let him have it. Let him copy the notes. She had a rare volume, annotated by the founding emperor himself, gifted by her grandfather. She'd give Lysander that, let him try to forge it. Seraphina, fetch the rosewood box from the shelf, Aurelia ordered. Her long, dark hair cascaded down her back as she sat upright, calm and resolute. Send this book to Prince Lysander. Tell him I thank him for his concern. Yes, my lady. Faith beamed, her spirits lifted as she took the box. But Seraphina wasn't reassured. She pulled Faith aside and whispered, Be careful when you see him. Don't get Lady Aurelia into trouble. If something goes wrong, not even Madame's mercy will save you. Don't worry. Faith, bright and earnest, thought Lysander's words had finally moved her lady's heart. She bowed and dashed off, clutching the ornate box. Outside, the northern wind howled and snow danced in the air. Even through the sealed wooden windows, the ominous wind was audible. Aurelia turned back to her book. She was no longer as impulsive as when she had first returned to life. In her previous life, it was that so-called treasonous letter found in her grandfather's study that had destroyed the White family, which meant someone loyal to Lysander or Prime Minister Li Mao had already infiltrated the Duke of Gen's estate. She had time, she would find the traitor. It had taken her a long time to understand why Lysander and Li Mao had conspired with Liu Huanzhang to destroy the White family, even though there were no more male heirs. The truth was simple. They wanted the White Army. But unlike other military clans, the White family trained all their children, sons and daughters alike, in military arts. From Aurelia down, everyone learned strategy, horsemanship, spears and swords. Even if all the sons were gone, as long as one capable white child remained, the White Army would never take orders from an outsider. Aurelia, Beatrice, Charlotte. They had once stood shoulder to shoulder with their grandfather on the battlefield. They had fought and bled with the White Army. Aurelia clutched the book tightly in her hands, her knuckles white. She had once burned with grief and hatred so fierce it seared her soul, and yet she had still served Lysander loyally, fooled by his false love. But now, heaven had given her another chance. Even if she couldn't save her father and grandfather, she could rewrite the White family's fate. She must not let hatred blind her. She had endured far worse. All the women of the White family were still here. The Duke of Jen's estate lay under a thick mist and heavy snow. Smoke curled from chimneys, red lanterns and festive silk adorned the gates, which stood wide open. The front courtyard buzzed with activity. Stewards and servants hurried about. The bamboo pavilion, where Beatrice resided, was lively with preparations. Maids and elder attendants bustled about. In the clear, radiant courtyard, 2 older maids in thick indigo robes had just stoked the fire in the floor furnace when they saw lights flicker on in Lady Aurelia's rooms. Aurelia had finished her breakfast and donned a thick, fur-lined cloak. She strolled toward Beatrice's chambers along the covered walkway. Seraphina, Faith. Beatrice had already changed into her formal gown and was having her makeup applied. Hearing the chorus of eldest lady from the outer room, Beatrice stood and emerged with joyful surprise. Elder, sister. In this heavy snow, why did you come all this way? Aren't you afraid of catching cold? The bamboo pavilion was warm and festive. Twin braziers blazed, crimson banners all radiated joy. Aurelia handed a hand warmer to Seraphina, unfastened her cloak and took Beatrice's hand. She led her into the inner room, gently pressing her into a stool before the vanity. I came to see you off, Seraphina. Seraphina took a long brocade box from a waiting maid, bowed respectfully to Beatrice and opened it.